ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां दयाकरं दयाकरं दान्तं धर्मप्रवर्तकं प्रणमामि दयानन्दं मदाचार्यपरम्परम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Fifth and sixth verses. हृत्पुण्डरीकं विरजं विशुद्धं विचिन्त्य मध्ये विशदं विशोकम् अचिन्त्यमव्यक्तमनन्तरूपम् शिवं प्रशान्तममृतं ब्रह्मयोनिम् विविक्तदेशे च सुखासनस्थः शुचिः समग्रीवशिरः शरीरः अत्यात्र अत्याश्रमस्थः सकलेन्द्रियाणि निरुध्य भक्त्या स्वगुरुं प्रणम्य तमादिमध्यान्तविहीनमेकम् विभुं चिदानन्दमरूपमद्भुतम् So the first directive given by the teacher is to contemplate upon oneself as consciousness. Nirgunam Brahma, free of all gunas, free of all forms. How to contemplate on that? There is no way to contemplate on that. One understands one is that. That is the idea. There is no, it's not like meditating upon Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya meditation, what happens? There is you and then there is Shiva, and even though you may have a oneness or something like that there, but still it is you that is different from Lord Shiva. So you are meditating upon Bhagavan, but here you are meditating upon that consciousness which is both the truth of you and the truth of Bhagavan. That is what you are contemplating as. You can't even say contemplating upon. We have to be very careful with the words, because upon means there will be two entities, and then there are no two entities. So contemplation as arupam, achintyam, adbhutam, that consciousness which cannot be objectified, which is not something that you can see, which is beyond all the senses, beyond the mind, and then free of sorrow, and achintyam, cannot be objectified. Avyaktam, avyaktam means is unmanifest, is not something that you can count and you can look at. And then ananta rupam, and at the same time, no, even though it does not have form, all the forms are unopposed to consciousness. Every form is non-separate from consciousness. Consciousness is not any one form. So then it is Shivam. Here not Lord Shiva. Shivam means what? Auspicious. Free of anything. And it's not unlucky, because usually the jiva feels, I am the most unlucky person. I have been set upon, I have been victimized, all kinds of things are happening to me, somebody is doing something to me. That is not there here. Shivam means not a victim of circumstances, because it's the most auspicious thing. Auspicious means what? It's ever lucky, ever nothing bad can happen to it. In fact, in its presence, everything only wonderful is there. So therefore, Shivam, free of all inauspiciousness. Mangalam. So Prashantam. Prashantam means tranquil, but there is a deeper meaning also, which the Tikakara gives, borrowed from the Mandukya Upanishad. Prashantam means knowing which samsara comes to an end. Samsara upashamam. Prashantam. That which is like a fire, water hose, which extinguishes the fire of samsara. Prashantam. Everything is gone. There are no more projections. There are no, whatever is happening on the Ishvara Srishti level, okay, but nothing is happening with me. There are no projections. I am one with everything. There are no projections. There is no pratibhasika satta anymore. There are no personal projections. This is what we have to see. Prashantam. Amritam. Amritam means that which is free of death. So Martya Bhava is not there. That which is free of death means what? All the six, what are they called? Vikaras are negated. It is free of death means, will it have birth? No. Will it have any other modification? Growing up, reproducing, and apakshiyate, all this is not there for it. It cannot grow up, it cannot decay, there is no upachaya, growth, there is no apachaya. So by Amritam, all the modifications for the Atma, this consciousness which is myself, has been denied. And then how to meditate is also very helpfully given. We have seen that. And just a review, because there was a 1 day break in between. So, Vivikta Deshe Sukhasanastha. So, how to sit, where to sit, and then how to meditate, all this is given. And then take a temporary sannyasa while meditating. You are not related to anything, including this world. You are not even a citizen of any country. You are not connected as brother, sister, son, daughter, father, mother, nothing. All those are suspended. How are they suspended? Through keeping those roles outside. We have seen how to externalize that by letting things be as they are. And the problem of internalizing the world comes whenever I have an agenda for the world, the world enters me. Not in a nice way, not in a sense of oneness. No, the world enters me because I have so many things that, so many needs, and most of the needs are what? Fulfilled or unfulfilled? Unfulfilled. And then so I'm on the lookout. Who can fulfill what? And then when I see in my own relationships that nobody can fulfill anything, and nobody is there, and they are not behaving how I want them to behave, There is like the day today, it is like a cloudy day inside. Yeah, cloudy day inside, and then everything is festering, everything is coming out, everything is painful because nobody is behaving how I want them to be. The funny thing is, they are also thinking the same thing about you. That we are not aware of. We are only aware of how other people are not behaving in accordance to our agenda, but then they also have agenda with regard to you. But you don't see that, you only have partial drishti, and so each time we have some kind of an unfulfilled agenda regarding the people, the things, the situations, events, all this in the universe. What happens? What happens is that the world has entered me and taken a bite out of the heart. It's just like that. It has just caught on. It has caught on, and then it is not letting go. Like, what is that called? Snapping turtle. There is one biting turtle. It just snaps and then catches hold of whatever it is catching hold of. Whichever part of the person it catches hold of, like that. There is the world has caught hold of me because I have let it enter my psyche in the form of unmet needs. So first thing to understand is that the world is not responsible to meet my needs. First thing. So, and then second thing is to acknowledge that the world cannot meet my needs. The world need not meet my needs. World means starting with parents, etc. They need not meet my needs, and they can, but they should have done this. Well, they didn't. What are you going to do now? Are you going to take them to court? You can't. Okay? Are you going to punish them? Not right now, you can't, because you are meditating. So what are you going to do? You have to let this go. You have to allow this to be. So you can't just say, the world is troubling me, and the world will trouble if you let it inside. So the second thing to see is that so and so, whoever is in my life or whatever situations are in my life, they are incapable of meeting my needs. Acknowledge that. So give them the freedom to be whoever they are, however they are, let them be. Now third thing is what to do with these needs, so many needs, so little time. Give it to Bhagavan. Pray. Because where else will you go? You have to go to the source of the needs. Who gave you desires? Bhagavan. Give it to, go to that source. Sarvesham buddhau ragadveshau vyavasthitau. In every buddhi, ragadveshas were created by Bhagavan. That's relieving. At least one thing, it's not my fault. Bhagavan made. Wait a minute, see the fine print. What is the fine print? Second line. Tayor vasham na agachet. Do not come under its spell, my friend. Tau hi asya paripanthinau. Asya sadhakasya. For this sadhaka, these ragadveshas are inimical. Don't come under their spell. Because I have free will, I need not come under their spell. So you can tell Bhagavan, all these needs you either fulfill. You can wag the finger mentally at Bhagavan and say, you either take care of all of them and fulfill. Option A. Option B, even better, free me of these desires and needs. Take it there. Take it to the altar and say. Because then the unacted upon desires are a cause of frustration. If you act upon them, you have already acted a wish that has been acted upon in the form of a prayer. Because prayer, don't forget, is an action. A mental action here. So you have acted in favor of your needs, and then you are left free. You can just say, okay, this Bhagavan is taking care of them. Immediately the thought will arise. What taking care? He, she hasn't taken care for so many years. I have been having these needs. What taking care? No, nobody is going to take care. When that comes, give that thought also. Just say, Bhagavan, take care of this ashraddha. Take care of this non-reverence, non-trusting nature. Give that non-trust also to Bhagavan. And this way, we stop the world from infiltrating the conscious mind. And we leave the world as it is, leaving me free to meditate and free to contemplate. And then this is what? Atyashramastha means being a temporary sannyasin. And then sakalendriyani niruddhya, not going after every noise and everything that happens, and then starting with a swagurum pranamya, having thanked the teacher or Bhagavan mentally for giving the demeanor to sit and meditate, for allowing this Shanti to be there in one's life. What does one do? Then tam adi madhyanta vihinam ekam, tam ekam. So focus the mind. Focus the mind means, actually here it's not focusing on the mantra, it is actually a sense of a focusing on the sakshi in the beginning. In the beginning of the meditation, you focus on the sakshi, and then you can see the truth of the sakshi as that which doesn't have a beginning. What is the birthday of the sakshi? No birthday, no birth. Therefore, no birthday. Oh, no cake, no cake. Yeah. Because I tell you, if there is cake, later on it will be followed by ache. Okay? Yeah. Oh, I'm so much older. When will this knowledge come? Every year it will be a mourning, not a birthday. So therefore, no cake, no birthday. Adi vihinam. Anta vidhinam, there is no middle, there is no anta, there is no ending, there is no middle either. Because what is the so-called middle? The so-called middle means it's waiting the end. Correct? And it is keeping count of how many years have gone by, or whatever unit of time is there. It's keeping count this way, it's keeping count that way. So there is nothing in the middle, there is no beginning, there is no end. And no many happy returns. Please don't wish anybody that, okay? Happy birthday, okay, tolerable. But don't say many happy returns. Means what? Please keep coming back and again. So, every mumukshu should be aware not to wish other mumukshus and jignasus what? Many happy returns. Vibhum means vividham bhavati iti vibhuhu. That which is itself formless, manifest in many forms. Many forms it is manifest, itself formless. Chidanandam. Chidanandam means that which is chit, consciousness. Finally, it is coming to what is this that one is thinking about or one is identifying with. So, this meditation is more of an identification with chit. So, chit. Chidananda, Chit, which is the source of Ananda. Even though I think the world is what is giving me Ananda, the world cannot give Ananda. Why? Because it is inert. And it is based on how I see it. It is based on my raga and dvesha. And everybody will have a certain raga and dvesha in a certain way. That's what it is. So then the world is incapable of giving me Ananda. Therefore the self alone, myself alone is the source of Ananda. How do you say yourself alone is the source of Ananda? Because it is Ananta. That which is forever can never be sad. No one can be sad forever. And if Atma were sad forever, it would be happy being sad forever. And then we would be wishing each other, oh, 3 sad things happened to you this week. Oh, you must have done a lot of punya, congratulations. But we don't do that. That means what? Atma is happy. We don't condole when happy things happen. We don't send congratulations when sad things happen. So that means that Atma itself is of the nature of happiness, and the happiness is connected to Ananta forever. That which is forever is happiness. Because if I ask you the question, how long you want to be happy, what will you say? For 5 minutes? 10 minutes? No. Oh, forever. So it's that is true with everything. So somebody says, I got a job. Oh, is it permanent? You see, there also we are looking for forever. I got married. And then what will you say if somebody says that? Good luck. That's all you can say. But there also, the idea is the marriage is forever. Even if it's the 5th marriage, the person hopes this time it is forever. That's what we want, the forever. We don't want any of these things. We want that which is behind each of these things, which is forever. Alas, the things are not forever. So the whole life after life after life goes trying to make the finite into infinite. Infinite being yourself, it has to be discovered, it has to be understood, it has to be lived. But then the infinite is missed because I'm busy trying to make the finite infinite. So Chidanandam, Arupam, we have seen this also in other contexts, so we can go over that. Arupam, itself formless. Adbhutam, Adbhutam means always a wonder. You discover it today, it's a wonder. You discover it tomorrow, it's even a bigger wonder. And this is how the whole knowledge takes place. First class, you sit. Atma, oh my God, where were you all my life? You get this feeling of euphoria. I got it. And then, little later, what happens? Oh, I thought I got it then, but I really got it now. And then, next 3 months course, what was I doing the first 3 months course? I don't know. I was in a kind of a mist. I was in a fog. What is that called? Brain fog. I was in a brain fog. This is what it is. OMG, I got it now. And then 3 years later, And then what? Now the student has become a teacher. Now the student is ready to be let loose onto other people, okay, and experiment their knowledge over them, okay. So now the student is ready to be let loose, and when the student is let loose, the student is now what? Teacher sitting on the podium, and tamadi madhyantam anantam adbhutam. I don't think I had got it even in my student days. I think I got it now. It's called the Swami Paramarthananda moment. So he was teaching, and then suddenly he thought he saw something he had never seen at all, and he was euphoric in the middle of the class, and he thought, surely this is a new discovery. And then he couldn't wait till the class finished, and he went back to his flat. And then after going back to his flat, he looked inside. He had kept old books in the suitcase. He thought, surely I have to call Pujya Swamiji and tell him this new discovery. I have really understood one particular point that I had never even seen before. I don't think this was even taught in the class. So underneath his bed, he had kept a suitcase full of old notebooks of that particular text he was teaching. He searched for the notebook and read. All was already there. Adbhutam. You see something fresh and new all the time. In a way, one never stops learning. Whether one is sitting on a podium or whether one is sitting in the class in any other capacity, you never stop learning. So the whole, what is that, this business called enlightenment is a series of growing clarity. That's why Adbhutam. Each time the clarity comes, ha, aha. And then the ajnanam is what? Swaha. With every aha, ajnanam swaha. So therefore, Adbhutam. And then that is what is to be meditated upon as oneself. And of course, this is a tall order. Good for Ashvalayana, but not for everyone else. Why good for Ashvalayana? A very wonderful sage, very highly evolved, has done a lot of homework. Look at his question. His question was itself like an answer. Very mature question, highly evolved question. And so therefore, this question itself was so much shows so much growth. But then everybody else cannot handle this level of meditation, contemplation, because the understanding is not there. So basically this verses 5 and 6, what do they it is both a teaching and a contemplation, because the contemplation is teaching anyway, and the teaching alone is that to be contemplated on. And so then this maybe the person is not ready. If the person is not ready, then another kind of a more familiar meditation upon Ishvara is given in the seventh verse onwards. Okay, 7th, 8th and 9th verses. Uma sahayam parameshwaram prabhum Trilochanam Neelakantham Prashantam Dhyatva Munir Gacchati Bhutayonim Samasta Sakshim Tamasah Parastat. So if that contemplation does not work, how to do this? There is not any clarity, or there is just plain inability to concentrate and look upon oneself as consciousness, because the fact that I am consciousness is not yet to be fully understood. Then there is option number 2, plan B. What is the plan B? Plan B is to get at Brahman from the standpoint of Sagunam Brahma. So the other one was Nididhyasanam, the first one. This is more of a dhyanam, a traditional upasana. How does it go? Think of the mother and the father. Visualize the mother and the father of the universe. Uma. Uma means the one who is all knowledge. Ma means knowledge. So this Uma, which is what? The consort seen as the Shakti of Bhagavan. Uma is the Shakti of Bhagavan. Shakti means non-separate from Bhagavan. Wherever there is Uma, there has to be Bhagavan. That's how we have to see it. Maya Shakti in the form of all knowledge. So this Brahman gains the knowledge to create, the knowledge to sustain, and the knowledge to take back, all from Maya Shakti. That is all knowledge, and that all knowledge becomes an abhushana for Brahman to gain Jagat Karanatvam, to gain the status of being Jagat Karanam Brahma. This is what Maya is. Maya is terribly misunderstood. People say, oh, sab maya hai, everything is maya, is seen as false, delusion, illusion, all these things. But that is only one small aspect of maya. Maya can be seen from vyashti, from the standpoint of the individual, and from samashti, from the standpoint of the total. From the standpoint of the total, she is what? Partner with Ishvara. In fact, her presence alone lends or bestows Brahman with Ishvaratvam. She is the one that makes Brahman into Ishvara. Her presence, her knowledge. Where did she come from? We have to think now. Where did she come from? She was not there all this time. Suddenly, how did she come? What is the answer? Non-separate. Anadi, very good answer, but also non-separate from Brahman. Second answer, three things we have to note. First is no beginning, correct? Very good. Second is non-separate from Brahman. And then Kalpita Shaktihi, number 3. It's an as though power. A power that is visualized, that is imaginary power. Actually, Kalpita doesn't mean imaginary, it means constructed. Kalp, to make. So it's a made power, it is a made up power for the sake of the Jagat. Because when Ishvara is there, then what? Ishvaratvam is there. Rulership is there, overlordship is there, overlord is there. And then why is there the overlord? Because Jagat, which is lorded over, is there. So the overlord and the lorded over is a mithya relationship. Overlord means what? It's a status bestowed upon Brahman which is free of being overlord. So the Ishvaratvam comes and the Ishvaratvam goes whenever in response to the Jagat. Whenever there is Jagat, you need a king, a queen, overlord. So therefore we say Uma Sahayam Parameshwaram Prabhum Vichintya. So all these words, Uma, Parameshwara, Maya, Ishvara, all these are as though superimpositions upon that consciousness which is totally free of all superimpositions. Oh, so now I understand. So right now consciousness is not free of superimpositions because we live in a manifest Jagat. Later on, after Pralaya comes, it will be free of superimpositions. Is this statement correct? No. Even right now, it is free of superimpositions. That's what it is. That's why it's an as though superimposition. Like sunset. Even now the sun is not setting, neither it is rising. It's not after I have the geography lesson, the sun will stop setting. What is the geography lesson? That the earth is moving around the sun. When I understand that, then it will stop setting. No, it is not setting even now. Whether it is not contingent upon my recognition of it. My recognition of it blesses me. That's wonderful. But even now, we have to see, we have to go to the place where we don't want to go, that there is no Jagat or substance to speak of. This Jagat that we see is a projection of Ishvara. In fact, it would be even better to say it's a projection in the form of Ishvara. That is better. Why? Because how do I take in this drastic conclusion, there is no Jagat? That's why we add there is no Jagat separate from Ishvara. Therefore what? Instead of seeing everything in the Jagat as separate from me, separate from Bhagavan, I go about Ishwarizing the universe. Here an Ishvara, there an Ishvara, everywhere Ishvara, Ishvara. Old Mac Jiva had a problem, yes. Felt alone, felt tired, felt alienated from everything. But then whatever you look at, whatever you see, Whatever you get, you just keep saying Ishvara, 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 Ishvara. That is the first level of what is called Sarvatma Bhava. And then with the help of the knowledge, you can say that Ishvara I am not separate from. It clinches the whole thing. So now, the first contemplation, which is in the form of the teaching, and the second meditation, which is also in the form of the teaching, both have to be assimilated. Both have to be assimilated. Why? Because otherwise the teaching is incomplete. The first contemplation is the contemplation of Brahman as the truth of oneself. Sat Chit Ananda, it says so. It says so in so many words. Chidananda Rupam. So Sat Chit Ananda, which means that Brahman is recognized according to its intrinsic definition. There is an intrinsic definition of Brahman and there is an incidental definition of Brahman. What is the intrinsic definition? Sat Chit Ananda. What does it mean to be intrinsic? That without which something cannot be. Like what is the intrinsic definition of fire? Heat, light. Heat and light. Can you have a fire without heat and light? Don't say, well, in a chemistry lab, you can have some kind of a cold fire. Okay, we are not talking of that, okay? We are talking of the general knowledge of what we consider fire. So can you have fire without heat and light? No. So therefore, the heat and light are intrinsic to the definition of fire. So when we talk of Brahman, three things are intrinsic to Brahman, will never change. Navyabhicharati. What is that? It exists. Does Brahman exist or not? Yes, it exists. Sat. Sat simply means it is there. And what kind of a Sat it is? A never not being Sat. A Sat that is never negated. A non-negatable existence, and an existence which is avikari, non-changeable existence. So the existence here has to be understood as non-negatable and non-changeable. So this is the first, what is that? Definition of Brahman, intrinsic definition, without which it cannot be. Sat. It exists. And what kind of an existence does it enjoy? Non-negatable, abadhitam, and trikalepi tishtati iti sat, that unchanging in all three periods of time, past, present, future, the sat is the same. Unending sat. And then, now, next definition is chit or jnanam. If you take satyam, then you say jnanam. If you take sat, they both same. Then you say chit. Chit or jnanam. What is this chit? It simply means that the existence is not inert, like a log of wood, like a rock. It is a self-sentient existence. That's what chit and jnanam means. Chit and jnanam mean the same thing. It means that the nature of this existence, the first definition, the nature of this existence is what? Alive, sentient without needing to breathe, sentient without depending upon oxygen, self-sentient. It is aware of itself, it's aware of its own existence, and then it is aware of everything else. Everything becomes evident to it, it is self-evident. And so this is a very important definition. The second one is a very important intrinsic definition because it brings in me. Sat, you can say Sat Brahma, you can say okay, something exists. And then when you say Chit, you cannot escape yourself. Are you Chit or Achit? Chit. How do you know? Because I don't have to ask anybody whether I exist or not. I don't have to ask anybody, at least today, whether I exist or not. I am here, I know. And so that's when you say Satchidananda, it becomes a Mahavakya, because there is no Chit without you. It has to include you. You are the source that is Chit. You are that which is Jnanam. And then what is the next one? Ananta. Because this answers the question, what kind of a Sat it is? What kind of a Chit it is? What kind of a Sat it is? Anantam Sat. A Sat that never ends. We don't know of an existence that never comes to an end. We have no clue of an existence that never comes to an end, because for us, every existence is time bound. That's all we know. We don't have a concept of eternity. There is no eternity. Unless one is a teenager and one says, "Where have you? I have been waiting for you for an eternity." And they have been waiting for half an hour. So, we don't have a concept of eternity. But this word Anantam, Ananda, both, they make this Sat into that which is free of temporal constraints. You take away the temporal constraints by using the word Ananta / Ananda. And what kind of a Chit it is? Again, Ananta Chit. Anantam Sat. Ananta Chit. This Chit without endings. How long is it sentient? All the time. This sentiency of this Sat Chit is not dependent upon the body, it's not dependent upon the mind, it's not dependent upon anything except its own self-sufficient, self-evident existence that doesn't have a beginning, that doesn't have an end. So these three comprise what is called the Swarupa Lakshana of Brahman. Swarupa means the nature of Brahman, and then Lakshana means the indicatory words that all end in me. These words are just pointers. They point. Like if you go somewhere to an unknown place, to an unknown town, and then you are looking for a restaurant, and then there is a board, restaurant, and there is an arrow that way. What do you do when you see that board? You go towards that. You do what it says. If it points that way, you go that way. You don't sit under the board and wait to be served. No. Or you don't eat the board because you are very hungry. Maybe this itself is the restaurant. No. You don't eat the board. You go where it says for you to go. This is this is what is called Lakshana Vakya. Lakshana Vakya means an indirect exposition, the use of the words we already know, but without after removing their limitations. So Sat, Chit, Ananda do not function as Vachyartha directly, and you don't understand Brahman. Indirectly you understand it as yourself, because the word Sat first goes through a spin cycle. all the what is that called? The limitations of existence, time, space, object-wise limitations are removed. How are they removed? Because of the beautiful Sanskrit language. We have an abstract usage called Bhava Sadhana. So we take Sat as an abstract noun, existence without any temporal, spatial references. This is Lakshyartha. We remove all the limiting notions around Sat. We remove the limiting notions around Chit, time bound, etc., body bound, time bound, all these things, like Chit that qualifies a body, all this we remove. So what we get is an all-pervasive, never-ending Chit. And Ananta, the word Ananta, not only reveals Brahman, but removes the limitations of Sat and Chit, associated with Sat and Chit. So through Lakshana, through the deployment, the strategic deployment, the conscious deployment of the words, we get a wonderful intrinsic definition of Brahman that not even as the most determined Purva Pakshi can touch. And they try. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, they do try. So not even anybody can touch. It's an ironclad definition. However, this definition is not enough for us to understand Brahman, because it leaves in its wake many, many questions. But, what about the Jagat? But, what about my roommate? You know? But, what about this weather? Yeah, that's why it's called weather. Because as soon as you start complaining, it starts to rain. And then there is a sudden reprieve. Today it looks like, so at some point it will start. It looks like very heavy and muggy. That's why it's called weather. You don't know whether it's going to rain or not. And so like this, there is a doubt. What about me? You are Satchidananda. No, I'm not. I'm not Satchidananda. What are you then? You poor Jiva, full of peeves, better call me Piva. And this jaded, faded Jiva, sad, always crying, victimized, and everybody is the cause of victimization. And if I don't find anyone else to blame, it's the stars. My Jupiter is not in the right place. That is why I am in this situation. No one can help me. Yeah, astrologers become very popular because of this. Yeah, because they'll offer some pariharas, do this, do that, do some homa, do some yajna, do something. And the person is busy doing something, and then one feels better because I have prayed, I have at least done something. So, the first definition of Brahman, from its own standpoint, leaves one flummoxed, because how to relate to that consciousness when I am bugged by bugs and bugging people every day? How to relate to that consciousness as myself? Because what is happening here is what is causing me pain, what is causing me sorrow. So just for the Jiva, this Jiva in the human body, who is what? Satchidananda. The Satchidananda who thinks himself, herself to be confined to this body, mind, sense complex, just for this sad, bad, mad Jiva, there is the second definition, which is called Tatastha Lakshana. Tatastha Lakshana means Tate Tishtati iti Tatastha. Tate Tishtati means it is on the other bank, that which is near the bank. How did this word come about? From an ancient story. People in Varanasi or somewhere where there are many temples, they are going by boat to cross the river to go visit the temple. So one passenger asks the co-passenger, I want to go to, I have to go to Annapurneshwari temple. Which one is the Annapurna temple? And it's a good question, because there are many Annapurna temples. Which is the main one? I want to go to the main one. And the passengers, the friend who in the boat says, wait a minute, let's see. You see that the Shikha, the Gopura, the temple spire over there, over which a crow is sitting. Crow happens to be sitting there. And then you please go follow that. The person does not, she or he doesn't say follow the crow. See, the crow has marked that place, the crow is sitting now, that is the temple you want to go to. And then the co-passenger is thanked profusely, and then the passenger gets off, and then what? What does he or she do? Looks for the crow? No. Because where has the crow gone? Who knows? Now the crow is sitting on top of a restaurant. And so, or the crow is sitting on top of somebody's house. So where to go? You have already seen where the crow was perched, and now that is the place you go to. The crow is just an indicator. So similarly, the Tatastha Lakshana is another indicator of Brahman. When this Brahman is manifest in the form of Jagat and is manifest in the form of this sad, bad, mad Jiva and is manifest in the form of the glorious Ishvara, there giving rise to being three entities when there is only one. So therefore, the Tatastha Lakshana helps me to navigate the everyday gap between myself and Bhagavan, myself and consciousness. I cannot relate to myself as consciousness. Why? Because there are emotions in the way. And what is the primary emotion? It's the emotion of alienation. That is what is in the way. I cannot relate to Bhagavan. Why? Because I cannot relate to myself as Satchidananda, Swarupa Lakshana. Why? Because in between myself and the Swarupa Lakshana, there is this body. And when the body is under strain, what do I say? I am suffering. When the mind is afflicted, I say, I am angry, I am sad, I am upset. When the senses are not working, I say, I can't see, I can't hear. So the I has taken on the body dharma, the mind dharma, the senses dharma. The I has taken on the mantle of doership and experiencership. Experiencership means complaining ship. That's what. So therefore, the second definition makes me remove these emotional constraints and helps me to grow emotionally so that I can work up to understanding myself as Swarupa Lakshana. Understanding myself as Brahma Swarupa. So therefore, in the second definition, there is Jagat. The Jagat is acknowledged as having an interim existence. And then what else? Jiva is acknowledged as having this independent body, mind, sense complex with a whole lot of what? Karma. Whole lot of karma. Whole lot of complexes. Whole lot of complaints. Yes, for the time being we accept that. It's an interim definition. It's a conditional definition, which cannot be bypassed because we live in a manifest universe. And if you say, I'm going to skip this teaching because this Tatastha Lakshana is very difficult and so I want to go straight to Swarupa Lakshana, so I will wait for the teaching till Pralaya comes. Once Pralaya comes and there is no pesky little Jagat to deal with, then I will be understanding I am all with Brahman. Is that a good option? Why not? Yeah, there is the Pralaya means you also won't be there. If you yourself are not there, where is Guru? There is no Guru. There is no Ishvara as Ishvaratvam either. There is no Jivatvam either. There will be no classroom because everything is now one. There is no Jignasa. There is no desire to study. There is no desire to know. There simply is what? Oneness. So you can't wait to study the oneness until the Jagat is resolved, dissolved. No. It is here. Another beautiful paradox of Vedanta is that it is here, amidst the chaos, amidst the confusion, amidst the so-called duality, that the understanding of non-duality necessarily has to take place. It has to take place right here, right now. And so this complaining Jiva first sheds the complaint. How? By Ishvarizing the entire universe. By surrendering to this Ishvara whatever one cannot change. What cannot be changed has to be what? Endured. That's all there is to it. What cannot be changed has to be endured. So therefore, this jiva, what does the jiva grows up. The jiva slowly grows up and gets over the emotional fixations and all the difficulties, overcomes all these difficulties, grows up slowly to see everything as Ishvara, and then with the help of the teaching to see everything as oneself alone. This is a two-step program. First, you deal with the Tatastha Lakshana, and then you deal with the Swarupa Lakshana as yourself. And so, Tatastha Lakshana here is described in the 7th verse and 8th verse, 7th and 8th verse also. And then, so, Uma Sahayam Parameshwaram Prabhum. So, the meditating upon who? Bhagavan and Bhagavati. Who is Bhagavati? Maya Shakti, because of which there is Ishvara. Brahman cannot act, Brahman cannot create. Brahman simply is what? Sat Chit Ananda. No creative power is there. So that creative power, and as though manufactured creative power is there, Maya Shakti, which brings in knowledge of the Jagat, which brings in creativity, which brings in also the raw material, and because of whose presence, the so-called creation, rather the manifestation takes place. The whole Jagat is created, but the Jiva is not a creation. We don't call Jiva, this is the only theology which does not call the individual a creation of God. No. The individual is God. We don't say all creatures, we are creatures. We are not a creature. We are not a creation. What are we? Bhagavan in a finite, as though finite body mind sense complex, as though abiding a finite body mind sense complex. That same Bhagavan that is there in the whole Jagat is also the indweller of this body mind sense complex. Body created, yes. Mind complex created, yes. The whole Jagat created, yes, by Maya Shakti in tandem with Ishvara, but the Jiva is nothing but Ishvara who likes to complain. That's the only difference. No other difference between Jiva and Ishvara. And so, then Parameshwaram means Paramascha Asau Ishvaraha. So that who doesn't have any other overlord. Usually we see that there is always a boss. Everybody has a boss. Everybody has a boss. And then you go to the CEO also has a boss. The shareholders of the company, they will be saying, they will be putting pressure, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. And the shareholders themselves will have a boss. There is unending this is. And so here, a bossless boss, Parama and Ishvara, the one who does not answer to anybody. Oh, must be dictator, must be tyrant. No. Why is Ishvara not a dictator? Because Ishvara doesn't have an agenda to fulfill. No needs are there. No need to use the universe to want something, to fulfill the wants at the cost of the jivas, at the cost of the Jagat. No. Jagat is himself, herself, and the jivas are not separate from himself, herself. Why will there is no agenda. So there is no tyranny. There is no partiality, there is no partisanship, because everything is an extension of Ishvara. This is how Ishvara sees, this is how we also have to see it as we grow in this knowledge. This is how it has to be seen. And so therefore, Ishvara is not a tyrant, not a ruler who is out to get you. No. Out to give karma phala. No. Everything just happens, and then the karma also is a law. Ishvara is manifest in the form of laws. The laws are not mandates of Ishvara, but they are manifestations of Ishvara, including the karmic law, physiological law, anatomical law, biological law, astronomical law. All these laws non-separate from Ishvara. I, the one who is feeling ruled by the laws, also non-separate from Ishvara. This we have to see. And so, Parameshwaram Prabhum Prakarshena Bhavati iti Prabhuhu means the causeless cause. Who is the cause of Ishvara? Nobody. And then Trilochanam Neelakantham, we have to be careful. Why? Because Trilochanam means what? 3 eyes. And immediately what do? Think of the Kamadeva story. Kamadeva story is Puranic in nature. Did the Puranas come before the Upanishad or after the Upanishad? After the Upanishad. Same thing, Neelakantha, blue-throated one, comes from that ocean churning story, which is where? In the Puranas. So we have to be careful in interpreting and understanding the words Trilochanam and Neelakantham. Trilochana means the eyes are what? The one who has 3 eyes. And Trilochana is the one which has 3 eyes. What are the 3 eyes? Past, present, future. Meaning the one who is timeless. Who is the seer of time. Who is the seer of the past, who is the seer of the future, who is the seer of the present. The seer does not succumb to time. Trikalagni kalaya. We say this in the, what is that? Namaste Astu Bhagavan prayer. There also, Vishveshwaraya, Neelakanthaya, Trikalagni kalaya, Kalagni rudraya, free of time. This is what Kala Bhairava is. Kala Bhairava means the one who makes everyone else scared of time. But when they surrender to him, they are also free of time, because his nature is free of time. So 3 eyes means one is oriented towards the past, one is towards the future, one is the present, because all 3 periods are non-separate from Ishvara. Ishvara is not succumbing to time. Neelakantham. Neelakantham comes from the Purusha Sukta, where the Purusha, Bhagavan, is seen as this whole, the whole Jagat is the body of Bhagavan. So, if the whole Jagat is the body of Bhagavan, and Bhagavan is somewhere in the skies, we cannot even see the face of Bhagavan, we can only see the throat of Bhagavan, which is the sky. Neelakantha. So beautiful. Yeah. Even in the Rudra, the same interpretation is given. So Neelakantha, we don't bring in the story of him swallowing hala hala and all these things. That comes later. Same thing, Trilochana, we don't bring in all the other stories. Here we have to see it from the words itself. We see the Vyutpatti Artha. And then not the Rudhi Artha. So Neelakantham, Prashantam. Prashantam means never agitated. Agitation is not there for whom? Prashantam. Not at all agitated. Means if I pray to this Bhagavan, I will also be what? Shantam. Not agitated. And little more is left, we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om